Well, the warm up is looming towards the end of this week and through the weekend, but before we get there, we are in the grips of winter. In many parts of the country, we are seeing the cold digging in and the snow falling as well. Upwards of 12 centimetres of snow falling, by the way, in a space of 2 hours in Braemar, Aberdeenshire. This is a tweet here by Braemar, Ballater, and Deeside, and some pretty deep snow depths, actually, considering it was only within the space of a couple of hours we've seen this significant amount of snowfall here. But it's not snowy for everybody. We have seen milder air mixing in. This is the current radar chart here as of 10 to 5 on Tuesday evening, and you can see quite a messy picture here. Plenty of snow showers across northern portions of the country. We did see a mixture of rain, sleet, and snow across parts of central and southern Scotland, northern England, and indeed Northern Ireland also here. But some of that snow changing over to rain, courtesy of this feature here, this 992 millibar area of low pressure moving in, pulling in a little bit of milder air as well. If we look at the 850 temperatures here, you can see off the GFS model that the 850s or the 5,000 foot level temperatures aren't quite as cold over central areas of Scotland. Now, I did say to my dad last night, he lives in Kirkintilloch, just north of Glasgow. I did say to him that I would expect disruptive snow during the course of this morning, and lo and behold, there's no snow in Kirkintilloch, and he did go down to the south side of Glasgow, and he said it was raining quite heavily. So if you look at the current temperatures, the temperature is actually at +4 at Glasgow Airport and 3.9 at Bishopton. But further north in the colder air, we do have -1.4 Aviemore, up to 0 at Tain, -2 at the Loch Lisgarnock here. And the further south you go, we did hold on to some relatively chilly air across the central and eastern areas of the UK. Milder conditions, as you can see, with that milder air wrapping in on the southern flank of the low. We've got milder conditions across parts of Northern Ireland, the Republic of Ireland also. Now, temperatures are going to tank as we move through the course of tonight here. So the current situation is, if we go back to the overview chart, excuse me, you can see that we do have a system, as I've said already, moving through the central areas of Scotland. Mixture of rain, sleet, and snow, the low levels across central and southern Scotland, northern England. And we also have a new boundary moving across the northern half of the British Isles, hence why we've seen some significant snowfall across parts of northern Scotland. Now, we do have a covering here at Eventon, north of Inverness, and I'm only about 27 metres above sea level here. I expect to see more accumulation of snow through the rest of this evening, but that boundary moves southwards. That system then exits to the east over the North Sea and opens the door to a renewed push of cold air from the north. And if we do get clear skies, light winds tonight, I expect double digits below freezing across snow-covered areas of Scotland, Aberdeenshire, parts of Inland Murray, Caithness, Sutherland. We will continue to see that northerly feed of snow showers through the rest of today, and through the overnight period. You can see a renewed batch of showers moving through. Now, notice here that all important system that we were keeping an eye on across northern France, southern England, the band of snow is not going to make it in the southern counties of England. I don't think. I think it's going to remain over the Channel. May see a significant amount of snow across northern France, but it's all about the northerly feed of air. Now, I know a lot of folk in parts of the Republic of Ireland, possibly Northern Ireland, and the bulk of England and Wales will probably be saying no snow as per usual. Sick and tired of winter in the UK. Unfortunately, it's just the way it goes, folks. And but I think the big talking point will be some of the cold nights to come. But you can see as we move through the course of Thursday, we continue to maintain that northerly feed. Snow totals will start to really mount up. If we look at the snow depth of the GFS model, you can see here that by the time we reach, early Thursday morning, notice here that we are void of any snow cover across the central belt here. Once you get into higher ground over the southern highlands northwards, we do have a decent amount of snow cover. Higher parts of Cumbria, into the spine of the Pennines, parts of Northern Ireland, northern counties, Northern Ireland, into Donegal and down the western side of Northwest Republic of Ireland. We may see a covering of snow by the time we reach the early hours of Thursday morning here. We'll play through the loop. You can see here that we we maybe increase slightly over the higher parts of the northern UK, and then watch what happens. We start to see the demise of the snow cover across the northern half of the UK. The reason why is because we are going to see warm air moving in from the west here. If we look at the 850 temperatures, by the time we reach 12 o'clock on Friday afternoon, we're back in the warmer air once again. It's going to take a little bit of time to warm up, probably at low levels across the northern UK, especially with snow cover. But it may be all eyes on potential name system towards the final days of January here, as the MJO, as been said for some time now, is rotating into phases 4 and 5. We've seen it coming even before the cold arrived the first week of December. The middle portion of the month was very mild. I said it before the cold arrived this time around that the MJO has been a terrific teleconnection, been a terrific driver to go by in terms of timing the cold and indeed the mild conditions for the UK and Ireland and western portions of Europe here. This winter has always been dubbed a back and forth. Largely mild December, potentially slightly colder than average to slightly colder than average January. It's February that I think is the big month. And that goes on to what I'm going to say now. So here's a tweet by Marco Battagna, based at the Met Office in Exeter. He says here, this was a tweet that was put out there a couple of hours ago, using the GFS model starting frames as a crude guide until more official observations are available to confirm, the 10 HPA or 60 north mean zonal winds appear to have flipped easterly through the course of this morning. So it looks as if, on the face of it, at the 10 millibar level, we have potentially observed a major sudden stratospheric warming situation here. Now, I did talk about the cold over Europe, the cold over North America. There is a split in the polar vortex within the lower stratosphere. We've seen that through the vertical structure of the stratospheric polar vortex in itself in recent days, and I said to you a few days ago that it was likely that we would see a reversal in the mean zonal winds, which constitutes a major sudden stratospheric warming. So that, combined with the MJO, let's have a look and see what the MJO is expected to do here. And it is rotating through the warm phases, yes, but it is expected to go through phases 6 and possibly towards phase 7, which then increases the chance of seeing northerly blocking and a colder shot down the road. Here's the CFSV2 500 millibar geopotential heights for the month of February, and you can see the trough over Europe, the trough over Eastern North America, and the block over Greenland, representing a negative Arctic oscillation, negative North Atlantic oscillation. So GFS ensemble, Arctic oscillation index, you can see here that it's been firmly negative. It is going into strong positive territory, and it almost looks identical to the strong positive that was seen during the middle portion of December here. And folks, there is no coincidence that this is in response to the MJO rotating, doing a full circle, cold phases into the warm phases, back to the cold phases, and I believe strongly, is going back into the cold phases as we move into early and mid-February. This, combined with what's going on within the stratosphere, hopefully should have a response further down the road here. I think the coldest of the winter comes in the next few days, but the coldest of the entire winter overall, I still believe, is during the month of February. The winter forecast is playing out exactly as I expected so far, and all things are looking quite favourable overall. I've seen a few interesting comments saying about how the mild's coming. You know, it's interesting how back 10, 15 days ago, a lot of people dismissed me mentioning the fact that the AO and the NAO is going to go back firmly positive towards the 20th of the month, and that is exactly how it's panning out to be. It's no coincidence. Yes, a clock is broken twice. A broken clock is correct twice daily, and I've seen interesting comments about that, but I don't think there's any coincidence in this whatsoever. So far, so good. The MJO has certainly been playing out very well indeed. This is the ECNWF extended here. Upcoming 7-day period, firmly below average, particularly so across Scandinavia, where temperatures are getting close to -40 up there again, by the way, after a significant warm up. You see here as we play through into the 7 to 14 day, big turnaround, big weather whiplash coming, and that is in response to the MJO phase 4 and 5. But you notice here off the ECMWF, we start to see the cooling coming back into play as we move into the first and middle portion of February here. Now, if that wind reversal within the mean zonal winds at 10 millibars is confirmed, then I would expect to see some sort of a response, possibly 2 to 3 weeks further down the road, which would come into the time frame of mid-February. So that would be the time frame that I would be looking at for the potential of major strong blocking over Greenland, possibly even a Scandinavian block, which sends somewhat, dare I say the term, beast from the east, but a bitterly cold easterly wind is very possible. I think that cold, by the way, over Scandinavia, October through December, was a bit of a telltale sign as to the potential that we had this winter. Remember, you can get easterly winds, not a cold Europe, doesn't mean anything, but the amount of cold, the level of cold, and the persistency of the cold over Scandinavia has been pretty remarkable, over recent months. There's no getting away from that here, and I think it's very interesting nonetheless to see how the pattern overall has been unfolding. So let's go back to the overview chart of the GFS and see what takes place over the next few days here. So as we play through the loop, we continue to see the northerly flow. There's that system then moving across the north of France here. Then an area of high pressure kind of stumbles its way in as we progress through late Thursday into Friday. That could set the scene for the coldest nights of the entire week. I do still think -15 we do have a shot at. Then as we move into the early portions of Friday, we do see snow initially because the cold air is in place. But with that high now to the south of the UK, we're now drawing our air in off the Atlantic here. So eventually that snow changes over to rain. Then we've got a new frontal system that moves in, and then we start to get into that phase 4 or 5 reflection within the atmosphere. Raise heights over Europe, lower heights over the North Atlantic and Greenland. You flip the NAO from negative to positive here, and it's off to the races. Deep areas of low pressure, named storms is possible next week with this situation here as the jet stream really starts to fire up once again. Look at that there, a 948 millibar area of low pressure over the north of the UK towards next Monday here. Long time away, but still, it's very realistic based on everything that we have in play at the moment. So, finally, how cold could we get as we progress through the middle and second half of this week? Looks as if tomorrow morning, the GFS, parts of the West Highlands, has temperatures down to -10, -11 Celsius. And as we play through the day, we're not going to see much recovery. Temperatures in the central belt barely above the freezing mark, maybe 1 or 2 degrees at best. Further north, especially where there's snow on the ground, temperatures really having a hard time getting above the freezing mark. Then as we progress into the day on Thursday morning, again, double digits below freezing is very, very possible. Into the Friday morning, we've got the temperatures below freezing, but you notice here we're already starting to warm things up. The transfer of coldest conditions may be across the southern half of the UK as we move into the early portion of the weekend, as winds start to pick up from the west across northern areas of the British Isles here. So I think I've covered enough for today. Please like, share, and subscribe as always, and I'll see you again tomorrow with more. Bye for now.